You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. I'm very happy that you've joined me. However, I am pissed off. And the reason why I'm pissed off is because we have a nation out of control. We have a Democratic Party who is taking an alleged statement from a woman and using it as a political tool against a very good judge, his wife, and his little girls. I think this is the most corrupt politics I've ever seen. When you take an individual who has gone through 6 FBI background checks, you have Senator Feinstein, who has had knowledge of this incident since July, shared it with no one, did not go behind closed doors when she had the chance with Kavanaugh and ask him the questions about the incident. Instead, she waits until the last moment when they're going to vote for this judge that she comes out with this nonsense. 35 years ago, this lady, through her psychologist, had these thoughts hidden away in her mind. And this judge has been before Congress before, has gone through FBI checks before. This never came up before. It only came up on the very last week when he was supposed to be voted into his office. To me, this is low. It's sneaky. It's like a snake. Feinstein should be held accountable by the American people for what she has done. The Democratic Party should be held responsible for the corrupt politics that they are playing on an innocent man. So an alleged incident happened. No proof. Nothing. And yet a man can suffer because this lady doesn't want him now to become a Supreme Court judge because of her personal political beliefs. This Me Too movement has gone way too far to the political left. It has done way too much damage where anybody can be pointed at and said, this is what happened, when nothing happened. 35 years ago, there's no proof except one individual that comes up with her own statement. A statement isn't proof. I'm really shocked. I'm dismayed. I'm embarrassed by our own Senate and how they play dirty politics. Cory Booker, Harris, both trying to become president, sat there in front of the committee trying to stop it over and over and over and over and over again. Just so that they could get some political recognition. And then you had Feinstein, the evil one that sat there with this information, knowing it was there, but never asked any questions during the hearings. And then all of a sudden it comes out. What Grassley needs to do is just go ahead and hold the vote. Because this kind of nonsense is no longer acceptable to the American people to be used. To use our system to tear down another person. To take a corrupt political tool and use it against a good person and his family. I feel sorry for the girls. This doesn't stay silent to little girls. People talk about it at school. People talk about it in their clubs that they're in. Their sports teams. These little girls have to live with something that has been alleged against their dad, but there's no proof. How worthless have the Democrats become that they think that they can control their power by evil deeds? To gain office, to gain recognition, to gain power by evil deeds. There is no good Democrats anymore. Every single one of them toe the line. Schumer makes sure that everybody does what he says. Pelosi makes sure all of the Democrats on her side do everything that she tells them to do. There's not an independent thinker in the Democratic Party. They're followers, they're sheep. But they are following a corrupt agenda to destroy the president, to impeach the president, to destroy a judge, to destroy his family and his children. How corrupt can you become? Now, I believe strongly that everybody should be heard. And I believe that if there has been misconduct, that it needs to be known. But we're talking about 35 years ago when he was a teenager. We're talking about an alleged incident that no one saw. No one has come up to verify what she has said. So it's alleged, but yet he's guilty. And yet the Democrats want to destroy him with this powerful, corrupt new tool that they have designed. They tried to use it against the president. They tried to use it against other people. And now they're trying to use it against Kavanaugh. This is not what Americans want for their country. They want a country where politicians listen to the people, do what the people need, and do what is best for their country. Being corrupt is not the best, it's the evil of this nation. Using political tools that destroy families and the reputation of individuals is not what this America is about. It never has been. Politics is not clean, but it is not this dirty. The Democrats have chosen to choose evil instead of good. That's not what America is about. I said this morning, I said, you know what? I will never ever, in the remainder of my life, will I ever vote for a Democrat again. Because now it comes down to a trust issue. It comes down to choosing a mob-type party instead of a fair party. This mob-type party that goes out and tries to destroy everything that people try to do. trying to destroy the liberties of you and I as Americans. I've known Feinstein for a long time. I remember when Harvey Milk was killed. She stood up and she became the mayor of San Francisco. I remember that day when the news came, when we found out that these local politicians had been shot dead by a police officer. Senator Feinstein stood up and she took control. It was an honorable time because she led a city that was that was mourning. It was the worst thing that probably ever happened in that city. But she stood up. And she acted like a leader. But what I see now, I do not see a leader. I see a corrupt politician who is hungry for power. She's using a political tool that is evil right down to the bone of democracy, of liberties, of the American people. What happened to that mayor that stood up and did what was right for the city, who brought the people together, who brought the people who were hurting in dissolution of what had happened? What happened to that individual? Now she sits before the country and looks like the devil. Gosh, how time changes with power, isn't it? I never thought that Diane Feinstein would do something like this. I always admired her. Even though she was on the other side, I still admired her. I thought that she was a good individual that represented everyone. But now I find out that her political games are very dangerous to the American people. What she did a lot of harm to women who were actual victims and who were afraid to come out. She's hurt them. Because if any victim thinks that they are going to be used as a political tool, they will never come out. They will never tell anybody. They will live with that hurt for the remainder of their life because of Diane Feinstein. She really should resign from her office. She's had a good run as senator and as a politician. But what she did to this judicial committee and to the American people and to the constitutional process of choosing judges and to the women who are victims of sexual misconduct, she did harm. So America, I want you to remember what happened with Cory Booker and Harris and Feinstein and all the rest of the Democrats that sat on that committee and played games all day long, with no intention to ever voting for this individual. But they played games. They wasted the American tax dollar and America's time. So Americans, we have got to stop this. Just remember that election is coming this November. And you know what you're going to get if you vote Democrat. You're going to get the calls for impeachment that will divide this nation sharply. You're going to get the call for higher taxation on you, in your family. You're going to be listening to calls for more regulation on businesses, on banks, on everybody else. And you're going to be listening to words of hate and division against our president and against Americans. It's time that we are no longer in a situation where we have to worry about the dangers of the Democrats. We can no longer sit here and just take it. And that's what we as Americans have been doing for so long. We've just been taking it. We've been hit from one side and then the other side. And it keeps going on. And we keep seeing Democrats using these political tools to stop the process or to destroy an individual or to destroy children's lives. Can you imagine being Kavanaugh's children and having to hear what their father is alleged of doing? How fair do you think that is to those little girls? How fair do you think it is to his wife? It's sad, isn't it? I'm sitting here as an American and I'm sad. I love my nation so very much. And I love what it stands for, and I love that we're becoming stronger financially. I love that we are now back as a leader of the world, of what is right and what is wrong. But then I see the internal workings of our nation and in the Senate and the Congress, in this continual hate and screaming, and congresswomen calling for people to stand up and get into other Americans' faces. This is not America. We're out of control. We're in the danger zone. We're in the danger zone where anything can be said about you. And you can lose your job just because of an accusation. No proof, just an accusation. So, where does that leave us? Well, that leaves us with the power of November and the power of the vote. If you want more of destruction and corruption and lies and bad politics and dirty politics and corrupt politics, then you'll vote Democrat. If you want change in the United States, less government, lower taxes, a stronger America, then you'll vote Republican. I'm an independent. So I sit here looking at a nation that has gone out of this control zone and gone over to a destructive zone. I don't like the destructive zone. I don't like corruption. I don't like senators who are sneaky and play behind the scenes. And we pay for their salaries. We pay for their benefits. We pay for their travel. We pay for all of the perks that they get. And yet we have Senator Feinstein turning against Americans and playing dirty. We have Senator Schumer turning against Americans and playing dirty. We have Nancy Pelosi turning against Americans and playing dirty. We have Cory Booker, who is playing dirty just so that he can't have his power. We have Kamala Harris that is playing dirty just so that she can become president one day. It's disgusting. So, as Americans, November, we have a chance to take this country back. To make it stronger, to make it more ethical, to make it more moral. and to make it more American. We need to get rid of these political games that hurt people and start thinking about how we can make our judicial system better, how we can make our government better, and how we can make our own personal lives better. And that is done through our vote. This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. Remember, November. That's the time you and I make a change.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
World of business and taxes on